It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Now let's move on to our next conversation. As it counts down to the November 8th Anambra governorship election, residents of the state have described this election as more than just a contest for power. They say it's a defining moment for India Anambra to shape the future of governance, development and leadership in their state. In today's conversation, YPP governorship candidate support Chukwuma joins me as I probe his vision, policies, leadership capacity, party ideology and plans specific to Anambra State. Sir Chukwuma is an entrepreneur, philanthropist, academic and politician. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on Politics Tonight.
Good evening and thank you for having me.
Thank you. So for those who may want to hear from the horse's mouth, I mean, that particular reason why you left the APC, I mean, I've been following your political journey for a while. Impressively, you contributed a lot to Anambra APC. Anambra APC now has a new secretariat, courtesy of Paul Chukwuma. But for someone who has contributed a lot to the party, also you were one-time national auditor of the APC, your supporters kept wondering why you didn't get that ticket. I mean, it also looks like you were one person who thought the ticket should have been a compensation for how much you've financially invested into that party. And some said that happened because you were not popular. How true is that?
Yes, I think we're done with the primaries and we are talking about the election that is just around the corner.
Yes.
And for me, the issues at stake in this election should be more or less the priority, because we are done with primaries and we are even getting to the end of our campaigns. So I have devoted myself, my time, in engaging the Anambra at the grassroots level to discuss the issues at stake in this election. And the issues at stake in this election, you know, is enormous. There are litany of issues, and you talk about insecurity, which up until today, the current incumbent government has failed, and like I said, remains clueless in solving. We talk about the problem of infrastructure, where we don't have infrastructure at all, and where the government pretends to be doing something, then we are presented with a textbook case of what an inferior project, you know, could, you know, turn a state into. Are we talking about the fact that Anambra has been number one in education, and today we are basically on the bottom of the ladder, you know, 33 position? Are we not worried about the fact that economic activity in Anambra has, you know, more or less come to, you know, is in coma? No activity going on as far as, you know, business activity, economic activity. We're not talking about local investors. We're not talking about foreign. This government has not boasted of one single foreign direct investor, not one single portfolio direct investor. So it's a big joke. And we are dealing with a government and a governor who, surprisingly, you know, has ended up in lying. You know, recently the governor went to a neighboring local government and told in the Anambra that a community hospital that was renovated by the government, that they've had successful surgeries, and that all manner of activities seems to be going on. Today, we can tell you that there's nothing in that hospital. You don't even have equipment, to do anything. Recently, we had a problem where the agents of the state government, because they are funding state militia, and they are, shooting at people discriminately, even in the market. One incident happened recently at on the Chairman Market. I was physically present, and we had to ensure that the victims of this disaster, were taken to the hospital. At the hospital, we were shocked to realize that there was nothing. And instead of coming clean to Anambra, to apologize of his inability to handle the affairs of the state. The government and the governor has ended up, telling all manner of, juvenile lies, to Anambra, and it's so unfortunate. So Anambra is totally broken, and what is our, for us at YPP, we're interested in fixing Anambra. We're not interested in rhetorics. This act of governance is a practical science. It's a case of Gosimu Kamfunanya. It's not a case of stories. We've been told all manner of rhetorics, in Anambra State, and there's nothing to show for it. And the government seems to be completely out of tune. So Anambra, nothing is working. But we are confident that there is hope. And the aspiration of this whole quagmire, is around the corner. Election is on the 8th. I'm pretty much sure between the 9th and the 10th, results will be out, and I'll be declared the governor of Anambra State. And we'll begin to wind back, the losses, because we've really been taking back about 15 years, by this administration, and shamelessly and shamefully so.
Right. So I asked you a question which you didn't answer, but you deviated by, hastily talking to me about how bad this current administration is. But I asked you that question because your opponents were here, and when I tried to ask them if they could match your vigor and readiness for this election, they said, well, you're successful in business and strategy. They say you lack direct public service experience. So it was a question for you to answer how prepared you are to govern a complex state like Anambra State. What qualifies you beyond ambition to take over the leadership of a state facing some critical challenges?
Yeah, I mean, talking about qualification, again, I don't want to join issues. The first thing is, I've clearly stated that Anambra is broken. I've managed my businesses. I'm a founder and owner of a private university that is, doing quite well. I've so many businesses. None of the businesses I established, I started from the scratch. All of them are doing quite well. But the point is, I have a very clear agenda for the Anambra. If we talk about the problem, we are being faced in Anambra State, what I have offered is the solution. What am I going to do? We talk about the problem of insecurity. I've offered in the Anambra clearly what I'm going to do differently. The government of Anambra State receives huge amount of money from Abuja, and they are not applying this money. Security vote, they get 4 billion, and they don't apply a dime to solving security. And the fact that you have been in one government office or the other does not make you qualified, to be a good, manager of people and affairs of men. The governor has clearly demonstrated that, yes, I give it to him, he's a professor, but he lacks what it takes to be a governor of a state, not Anambra at least. The issue of education, you talk about a professor in a state like Anambra State, and we have many communities where you don't even have public, private, or secondary school. I am going to provide these facilities for the Anambra. You talk about the teachers in Anambra State under a professor in charge of Anambra State, and they don't have teachers' quarters. I am going to fix it. I'm going to build teachers' quarters in every community. You talk about a professor of economics who does not understand what it means to talk about microeconomics. You don't take money out of people's pockets. You demolish people's property in the name of building inferior, substandard roads. You neither build the roads, people don't have money in their pockets, you have demolished their shops. We are talking about developmental economics. We're not talking about, academic economics. You should be practical. Government must be, something that the Anambra must relate to. We're talking about a professor of economics who does not understand how to generate IGR. Akodo is everywhere on the street of Anambra because they use it to intimidate people in the name of collecting taxes. And at the end of the day, they end up not collecting anything. Anambra State is collecting about 42 billion every year. And the neighboring states that is not as endowed as Anambra State are doing about 200 billion, like Enugu State. You are talking about a state where erosion is, ravaging the entire Anambra from his own. The headquarters of ecological problem in Anambra State is in Anambra South. And the governor is from Anambra South. And he has not done anything. What a shame. And then we are talking about, rhetorics. We are not here to do skit making. We are here to talk about serious issue of presiding over the affairs of the state. You are talking about a state where you have a governor who parades himself as a scholar and no research is going on. Our university is as dead as anything you can think of.
All right, Mr. Chukwuma,
the welfare of the teachers, because is nothing to take to take about. You are talking about a state where the civil servants are not being paid minimum wage. It's just a huge shame, and people are going about dealing with rhetorics. I am a lawyer. I can't deal with rhetorics. I will deal with facts, and I will deal with solutions to problems. We have huge problem in Anambra State. Litany of the problems. The governor is incompetent. The governor is not prepared.
Mr. Chukwuma, can you hear me?
Clueless. And even if you give him additional 10 years, the governor has lost it. He can't deliver on anything.
Mr. Chukwuma, can you hear me? Can you hold on, sir?
In the background of IFI. We're not talking about IMF. We're not talking about those jargons. It is SAP, Structural Adjustment Program, that is part of our problem in this country. They bring programs that are not in tune with the concrete reality of the people they are governing. That's the problem, my sister.
Can you hear me, Mr. Chukwuma?
Yes, please.
Okay, because it looks like you didn't hear me when I was trying to interject. Now, I've spoken with about 8 governorship.
Sorry.
Right, that's okay. Right, that's okay. So I've spoken with about 8 governorship candidates, and one thing most of you have complained about is the need to review the tax system in the state. What exactly is wrong with it, and how do you intend to generate revenue for Anambra State?
No, when you talk about IGR, you need to understand the system of collecting these taxes. This is 2025. I'm going to leverage on technology to ensure that we have a proper convergence of all points that revenue is supposed to emanate from. So on a touch of a button, Anambra indigenes, citizens, residents, we know how much we are collecting in taxes. And then you cannot just, deploy touts and thugs, with Akosisi and Akodo on the streets of Anambra. We are not a banana republic, and this is coming from a professor. And every day people are being killed in the name of tax collection. It's not about the tax itself, but the mode of collecting these taxes. And at the end of the day, we don't get to see the money that is being generated. It's a huge scam. And, so for me, what I will do differently, first of all, I need to explain to Anambra the need why people should pay taxes. Because, of course, government needs taxes to work. And the Anambra need to see where the taxes are going, are being channeled. And then the mode of collecting these taxes has to be in sync, with modern reality. We can't be harassing people on the street with Akodo. And, a lot of people have lost their lives. as they are trying to evade some of these criminals that are, engaged as tax collectors. So that's what I'm going to do differently. But beyond that, the truth of the matter is that the leakages in the system needs to be, dealt with by leveraging on technology. I'm going to leverage on technology to ensure that we have the proper convergence. And then we run a proper single treasury system where all MDAs, all service points, will aggregate in one single treasury point, so that government will know exactly how much we are being collected and what we are doing with those funds.
Go back to a challenge you raised earlier, the issue of erosion. Just like you said, Anambra State is described as the erosion capital of Nigeria. What is your long-term environmental vision?
Yeah, erosion is key. Because, you see, government, this particular administration is clueless. And it's not about, everything is not about money. We need to also go engage in proper advocacy as government. We need to begin to, plant more trees. We need to begin to ensure that we deal with this. Because I give you an example. Some of the roads, the governor, as we speak, the governor of Anambra State, as we speak, is guaranteeing more erosion sites for us by the quality of the roads they are constructing. He has opened up a number of places in the pretense that he's doing some of these roads just because the election is around the corner. He had 3 years to do these things. He didn't do them. Most of those sites are turning into erosion sites because there is no drainage. There's nothing. I've never seen a thing like this in my entire life, that a scholar of such standing, would, be engaging in issues of governance the way we have seen in Anambra State. So I'm going to do that. And beyond that, I will also leverage with federal government. I'm going to collaborate with federal government. Right. We are running a federation. Anambra is part of the federation. Anambra is a federating unit under the federation. And there is an ecology fund, that we also need to assess to ensure, make our case, and have access to this fund so that we can deal with this, so that our homeland will remain safe.
Right. Sadly, we're out of time, but thank you very much for joining us on the program tonight. Paul Chukwuma is YPP governorship candidate. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at 12:30 a.m. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I'm Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone. I'll see you again tomorrow.